this lecture, I just want to take a moment to thank all of my supporters and everyone for supporting my channel. My YouTube channel truly will not be where it's at today without all my supporters. So with that being said, let's get on down to today's lecture, which is acknowledging as a content creator, my channel has reached 7,000 plus published videos. And I always tell people, whatever goal you have for your YouTube channel as a content creator, you always want to acknowledge and praise that goal. 7,000 plus published content. That's a lot of work behind the scene. And my channel is a little over 4 years old. Actually, it's probably going on 5 years old. But, I always like to acknowledge and recognize and praise for every milestone that I accomplish as a content creator. Before I hit 7,000 plus published videos, I had to get that first 100 plus published videos, 2,000, 3,000, and on and on. It's a lot of work. And what helps me in any milestone that I meet, but in terms of my YouTube goals, is to acknowledge that and to praise that, and that's an internal driving force, a motivational force to continue on with the next business goal, rather it's a YouTube goal or a goal in other areas of my life. And that's the key right there. And I do a lot of, on many of my, especially my lectures, I do shorts. I diversify my content, first of all. My published videos, I diversify my published content. I may do a short, I may do a video upload, I may do a live stream, I may do a silent live. When I'm traveling abroad, I'm gonna do limited live footage when I travel abroad. So I'm mixing it up. And I tell anybody as a content creator, mix it up, because the more you mix it up, the more you publish your content, you're going to be pushing your channel into the next stratosphere. You're going to be building your video catalog. And when you build your video catalog, like I said, I'm at 7,000 plus published video catalog. So that means people internationally, globally, people are viewing my channel, worldwide people. That's a lot of work. And, my channel's been monetized going on 3 years. And I tell folks, content creators, if you monetize or not, you all know, first of all, you make your significant money on brand deals. My YouTube channel became eligible for brand deals August of 2024. That's where you make your real money. But we also make money through views, ad or paid advertising, ad revenue. So think about this now. If I got 7,000 plus published video content, and people are viewing my channel all over the world at any given time, any one of those 7,000 plus published content, that's how paid content creators, we also make our money from ad revenue. It ain't all about just the money, because, you got to be internally driven to publish content at this volume. You got to have a mission, goals, and objective for your channel. You got to have a strategic business plan in place for your channel. I talked about this in the past. A lot of my topics, I do a lot of research behind the scenes in preparation for those lectures. Although I'm retired, but I still maintain all my professional credentials as a licensed clinical addiction expert. I'm credentialed at the national level, state level. I'm credentialed in 3 different states. So I may do a lecture on disease concept of addiction. I may do a lecture on how to recognize the behavior signs of a person who's in recovery from alcohol or drugs, how to recognize behavior signs in terms of relapse. So I'm doing a lot of research and behind the scene on certain topics, which takes work, which requires being internally driven people. And I may do shorts. I may do a coffee short. I may do like I'm doing this live stream right now. I'm killing 2 birds in one stone. I'm out here getting my exercise, walking in the natural environment. When you're walking in a natural environment, you do it walking the incline, decline. You're working your cardiovascular. You're getting a full body workout. So I do a lecture while I'm out here in the natural environment. And so that means anybody in this world can run across this live stream. And so when your channel is monetized, a content creator is considered a 1099. So we're making money from various avenues, brand deals, ad revenue, super chats, memberships. So the list goes on and on. But also, you cannot be lazy when you're a content creator. You got to have a game plan in terms of how you want to build your video catalog, real talk. And you want to diversify. And every time you hit a milestone, when you get that first 500 videos, that first 1,000, 2,000, 6,000, 7,000, you want to acknowledge and praise that along the way. And that's the internal driving force to go to the next goal. I can clearly remember when I had 2 videos on my YouTube channel. Literally, I can clearly remember when I only had 2 subscribers. Now I have well over 370 plus thousand subscribers on my channel. It took me 2.5 years to monetize my channel. That first year of being a content creator, I can clearly remember it took me a solid year to get 100 subscribers. And when the criteria to get monetized was you had to have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours within the 365-day time frame. So early on in my career as a content creator, when it took me a solid long year just to get 100 subscribers, my first thought was, ain't no way in the world I'm able to make it to 1,000, really? But I kept pressing forward. I changed my strategic business plan for my YouTube channel as a content creator going into that second year, and the rest is history. So I say that to say, acknowledge and praise every accomplishment as a content creator, and keep God first. Because if anybody say that being a content creator when you're at any level is easy, is a lie. Because you got to put the footwork in. You got to be willing to do research and study behind the scenes. You got to study those YouTube community guidelines on an ongoing basis behind the scenes. Your channel could have no warning strikes in terms of violating those community guidelines. You got to stay abreast of those guidelines. You got to be internally driven. I work harder now than ever before as a content creator to continue to push my channel into the next stratosphere, people. And I saw explosive growth in my YouTube channel September of 2023. I literally saw explosive growth in my channel from the time frame of September of 2023 to December of 2023, especially when I took that guided tour to Cairo, Egypt, and did a tremendous amount of live footage as I walked inside of the Valley of the Kings, as I walked inside of the Giza Pyramid, one of the 7 wonders of the world, as I rolled on the biblical Nile River. That was a life-changing, people. And when I did that, I literally saw explosive growth, not just in my YouTube channel, the sales of my book, the revenue from my company, literally before my eyes. But the key thing is, you gotta keep God first. I don't care if you have 1 video or 1 million videos, you have got to keep God first. You got to be internally driven. You got to have a strategic business plan. You got to be willing to do the footwork behind the scene, the research behind the scene, the blood, sweat, and tears behind the scene on an ongoing basis to get your channel to where you want to get it to be, and to acknowledge those milestones along the way. Real talk. So again, I just want to just state that the purpose of this lecture is to acknowledge that my channel as a content creator has surpassed well over 7,000 plus published videos that consists of various shorts, lectures, live streams, video uploads, silent stream, live footage, a combination of all. Real talk. I'm publishing, for the past several months, I've been publishing a minimum of 13 to 23 published content a day for the past several months. And you got to be internally driven to do that, people. You can't be lazy if you're going to function at that level. Real talk. So again, I want to thank all of my supporters. I want to thank all of my stakeholders for these brand deals. I want to thank all of my members. I want to thank any and everybody who has played an impact on pushing my channel to the next stratosphere. But most important, I want to give all thanks and glory to God for giving me the passion, the ability, and the drive to do this, or to impart my knowledge onto the world. Simplify, simple fidelis, and I'm going to leave you in the care of your own conscience. Have a great day.